I used to laugh whenever preachers warned us about hell. I thought it was just a way to scare women like me into dressing decently. But let me tell you something that will shake your soul. I died, and I saw hell with my own eyes. And what I saw broke me to pieces. Sisters, listen carefully. I saw women, countless women, burning in chains of fire. Do you know who they were? They were women just like me, women who loved to show off their bodies, who wore short skirts, transparent dresses, and even went out without panties, thinking it was confidence, thinking it was fashion. But in hell, that fashion became their torment. Their very clothes turned into instruments of pain. Their nakedness was mocked by demons. And their cries, oh God, their cries will never leave my mind. And Jesus spoke to me. He said, tell them, tell my daughters. Their dressing has led men, both young and old, into sin. Even pastors have fallen because of them. Their skirts, their blouses, their tight jeans. They thought it was harmless, but it has destroyed souls. This is not just a story. This is my testimony. If you keep watching, you will hear exactly what Jesus told me about women who dress indecently, and why hell is full of them. Don't scroll away. Your soul may depend on this warning. Before I continue, let me quickly say this. I want to thank everyone who has been following these testimonies on this channel. Your support, your comments, your prayers, they mean more than you know. You are not just viewers, you are part of a family that is spreading the truth in a world that desperately needs it. Each time you share these videos, someone's life changes. Each time you comment, Amen, or pray for others in the comment section, you're sowing seeds that heaven records. And to all of you who have been warning your friends, your children, your churches through these stories, may God bless you richly. If this is your first time here, please join us. Subscribe, like, and stay connected, because testimonies like this one are not just stories, they are lifelines. Thank you for standing with us in truth. I grew up in a Christian home, but to be honest, church was nothing more than a routine for me. Every Sunday my parents would drag me along, and I would sit there staring at the choir robes, waiting for service to end so I could rush back to my real life. The parties, the music, and the attention I craved. By the time I was in my late teens, I had discovered the power of my body. People say beauty is a gift, but I used mine as a weapon. Every time I walked into a room, eyes followed me. I realized quickly that the shorter my skirt, the tighter my blouse, the louder the whistles and the stares. And I loved it. I loved the feeling of power, the rush of being desired. I remember standing in front of the mirror before church one Sunday. I wore a skirt so short that even I had to keep tugging it down. My mother looked at me and said, "My daughter, is this how you will stand before the Lord?" I rolled my eyes and snapped back. God looks at the heart, not the clothes. Deep down, I knew I was lying to myself, but pride would not let me admit it. Men in the church were no different from those outside. Some of them, married men, even pastors, could not hide their eyes when I passed. I noticed how one youth pastor stammered whenever he spoke to me, his eyes always dropping where they shouldn't. Instead of feeling convicted, I felt powerful. I told myself, if even pastors can't resist me, then I must be special. I never realized that I was leading them, and myself, into destruction. At university, my friends and I competed with each other on who could attract the most attention. We called it the skirt game. The rules were simple. The shorter, the better. Sometimes, we would even go out without underwear, just to shock people. The comments we got online, the likes on our pictures, the way men begged to spend money on us, it all became addictive. If anyone preached to me about hell, I laughed in their face. I thought hell was an old-fashioned scare tactic to keep people from enjoying life. I told one preacher, if God really loves us, why would he throw us into fire just because of clothes? That doesn't even make sense. I thought I was clever. I thought I knew better than scripture. But late at night, when I was alone, there was always a small voice in my heart. What if it's true? What if you're wrong? I silenced it with music, parties, and alcohol. I convinced myself that modesty was for weak women, for those who had nothing else to offer. Me? I was bold. I was confident. I was free. What I didn't know was that my so-called freedom was dragging me straight into chains I could not see. Chains that hell itself was preparing for me. It was a hot afternoon in July, 2019. I had just returned from a friend's birthday party where I had danced half the night in a dress so tight that I could hardly breathe. My phone was full of pictures. Me posing with my legs crossed, my chest pushed forward, my smile daring men to comment. And comment they did. Every notification that popped up gave me a rush. But that afternoon something strange happened. I was scrolling through those same pictures when I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my chest. First, I thought it was exhaustion, maybe lack of sleep. I stood up to drink some water, but before I reached the kitchen, the pain spread like fire down my arm. My vision blurred. I remember whispering, "What is happening to me?" before everything went black. The next thing I knew, I was no longer in my body. I could see it lying there on the cold floor. Eyes half open, lips trembling. My phone was buzzing beside me, but I couldn't touch it. I screamed, but no sound came out. That was when I realized I was dead. A strong wind began to blow around me, colder than anything I had ever felt. Then came the voices. First whispers, then shrieks, then laughter so cruel it made my soul tremble. "She's ours. She's ours," the voices said. I felt something wrap around my feet, like chains made of smoke, and drag me downward. The floor beneath me split open, and I fell into darkness. The deeper I went, the more unbearable the stench became. Imagine rotting flesh mixed with burning hair and sulfur. My lungs screamed for air, but there was none, only thick smoke. The screams grew louder until I realized they weren't just echoes. They were people, real people, men, women, young, old. Their voices rose in endless torment. I landed on what looked like cracked, burning ground. Flames shot up randomly, licking the air. Shadows moved all around me, souls twisting in agony, demons with eyes like fire, wings torn and blackened. My heart pounded with terror. I tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The chains tightened around me, dragging me past pits where people burned without being consumed. Then I saw them. Women. Hundreds, thousands of women, chained together, their clothes in tatters. Some were completely naked, their private parts exposed, while demons laughed and mocked them. Others wore the same outfits they once flaunted on Earth. Miniskirts, see-through tops, skin-tight trousers. But here in hell, those very clothes became their instruments of torment. The skirts caught fire but never burned away. The tight trousers turned into snakes that bit their thighs. Their cries pierced through my soul. One woman screamed at me, her eyes wide with hopelessness. Tell them this is where indecent dressing leads." I thought it was fashion. Now it is my punishment forever. I wanted to cover my eyes, but I couldn't. I wanted to cover my body, but I was naked too. Shame gripped me for the first time in my life. On Earth, I had loved exposing myself. Here, I wished I could hide, but there was no hiding place. Suddenly, demons dragged me closer to a pit where pastors were chained alongside women. The pastors screamed. We couldn't stop looking at them. Their dressing made us stumble. And the women screamed back. "We enjoyed your lust. Now we are all here together." That was when the ground beneath me began to split wider, dragging me toward the pit. My soul shook with fear. I thought it was the end, but it was only the beginning. The chains around my body pulled me further, dragging me like a rag doll across jagged rocks that sliced into my bare skin. The pain was unbearable, yet I didn't bleed. Hell denied even the relief of blood. I screamed, but my voice was swallowed by the endless wailing that echoed through that place. It was as though millions were crying at once, yet every cry was distinct, every agony personal. The demons laughed as they pulled me. Their laughter wasn't human. It was sharp, metallic, cutting into my soul like knives. One with a horned head and eyes like burning coals bent down to my face and sneered. "You thought men desired you? You thought your beauty gave you power? Fool! Your body was bait, and now you are our trophy." They dragged me toward a pit where women were hung on hooks made of fire. I will never forget that sight. Their bodies dangled, twisting in agony, flames wrapping around them like serpents. Every time they screamed, the hooks tore deeper into their flesh, yet they never died. One woman turned her head toward me. Her face was disfigured with burns, but I recognized her from my university. She had once been the star of our little skirt game, the one who dared us to go pantyless to parties. In a hoarse voice she cried, "Don't join us. Please don't. Warn them. Before I could answer, a demon shoved a burning cloth into her mouth, mocking her modesty too late. I looked down at myself and realized I was dressed in the very skirt I had died in, the same one that hugged my thighs so tightly. But now that skirt felt alive. The fabric turned into glowing metal, burning into my skin, branding me with shame. I clawed at it, trying to tear it off, but the more I pulled, the deeper it sank into me. My legs burned as though fire lived inside my bones. Fashion queen, one demon shouted, mocking me. Show them your confidence now. They jeered as they dragged me past another pit. There I saw women crawling on their hands and knees, their bodies twisted by snakes. Every time they tried to cover themselves, the snakes whipped them. I heard one cry out, "I never wore panties because I wanted to feel free. Now I'm bound forever." The snakes coiled tighter, crushing her ribs until she wailed like a child. I stumbled forward, begging, "God have mercy. Please, I didn't know." But another voice inside me whispered, "You did know. You were warned. You ignored every warning." The torment was not only physical, it was emotional, spiritual. For the first time, I understood shame. On earth, I flaunted my body to attract men. Here, that same exposure became humiliation before heaven, hell, demons, and souls alike. Then I was dragged before a massive gate, taller than any building I'd ever seen. Fire poured out from its cracks. Demons stood guard with whips of lightning. They pushed me toward it, laughing. "This is your eternal runway. Walk proud like you always did. Walk into your forever." I trembled, my legs weak, my soul crushed. This was no longer about fashion, no longer about freedom. This was judgment. I had led men into lust. I had taken pride in the very thing that was killing me, and now hell demanded I pay. Just as the gates creaked open and the flames inside roared louder, a voice thundered across the darkness. It was not like the demons mocking. It was powerful, yet full of authority. The chains holding me froze. The demons trembled. For the first time since my descent, I felt something other than fear. I felt hope. The moment that voice thundered, everything around me froze. The demons who had been mocking me fell to the ground, their whips clattering from their hands. The chains that burned into my skin loosened. Even the flames seemed to bow to that sound. I lifted my head, and there he was. Jesus. His light pierced through the suffocating darkness, brighter than the sun yet gentle enough for my eyes to bear. His face was radiant with majesty, but also filled with sorrow, like a father watching a child he loved choose destruction. The demons shrieked. She belongs to us. She dressed for us. She led men into our hands. But Jesus stretched out his hand, and they scattered like ashes in the wind. He looked at me, just one look, and I felt everything I had ever done flash before me. Every picture I posted to seduce attention, every skirt I wore to provoke lust, every man I made stumble, even pastors who fell because of me. I wanted to hide, but there was no hiding. Then he spoke, his voice like rushing waters yet tender. "Daughter, do you know why you are here? You thought your dressing was freedom. You thought exposing yourself was confidence. But I tell you, every time you wore those clothes to be seen, you became a stumbling block. You led men into sin. You made them commit adultery in their hearts. Even my servants, my pastors, fell because of your pride. Do you not know that I said, 'Woe unto the one through whom temptation comes'? You became that vessel." I wept bitterly. "Lord, I didn't know. I thought it was just fashion. I thought you only looked at the heart." Jesus' eyes grew heavy with grief. "Did I not give you my word? Did I not send warnings through your mother, through preachers, through the conviction in your own heart? But you silenced them. You laughed at holiness and called it weakness. You mocked modesty and called it bondage. Yet it was not bondage, it was protection. You rejected the covering I gave you, and now the enemy uncovered your shame." Every word pierced me deeper than fire. My knees buckled. I cried, "Lord, please give me another chance." Jesus raised his hand, and suddenly the scenes of women in torment replayed around me. They stretched out their arms, crying, "Warn them! Tell our sisters not to come here." Their voices were desperate, echoing endlessly. Jesus looked at me with authority. "Go back and tell them. Tell my daughters that indecent dressing is not a small matter. It is a weapon of the enemy. Tell them that their bodies are temples, not tools for lust. Tell them that every soul they cause to stumble will rise against them in judgment. Tell them that hell is full of women who ignored these warnings. But tell them also, my mercy is still available. Whoever repents, I will cleanse. Whoever turns away, I will cover them with my righteousness. Then he leaned closer, his voice breaking with compassion. Your time has not yet come. I spare you not because you are worthy, but because of my mercy. When you return, do not live as you lived before. Speak, warn, testify. For many are on the same path you walked, and their end will be destruction. Before I could respond, his light engulfed me. The screams, the fire, the chains, they all faded. I felt myself being pulled upward faster and faster, until my eyes opened back in my room. I was lying on the same floor where I had collapsed, my phone still buzzing. My body shook with life, but my soul trembled with fear. I had seen hell. I had heard Jesus. I had been given a second chance. When I opened my eyes back in my room, I couldn't stop shaking. The memories of hell clung to me like smoke. Every scream I had heard echoed in my ears. My skin still felt the burn of that cursed skirt. And the words of Jesus, his sorrowful yet merciful warning, played over and over in my mind. The first thing I did was run to my wardrobe. I pulled out the miniskirts, the see-through blouses, the skin-tight jeans that once made me feel powerful. But now they looked like weapons of death. With trembling hands, I tore them one by one and threw them into the fire pit outside my house. Neighbors stared, my friends laughed when they heard, but I didn't care. To me, they were no longer clothes, they were chains that almost dragged me into hell. When I told my friends about what I had seen, they mocked me. You're exaggerating, one said. Hell isn't real. You just had a bad dream. Another sneered. So now you want to be a holy preacher? Their laughter cut deep, but I remembered the women crying out in hell, begging me to warn others. I could not stay silent. At church, people who once admired my bold fashion now stared in surprise when I walked in with long dresses and covered shoulders. Some whispered, "She's gone old-fashioned." But others came to me privately saying, "Tell me what happened. I feel convicted too." Slowly, my testimony began to spread. My personality changed as well. I used to crave men's attention, but now I craved God's presence. I used to scroll through likes and comments online, but now I share warnings and scriptures. I used to call holiness weakness, but now I see it as strength. I am no longer the same woman who collapsed that July afternoon. I am a vessel spared by mercy, to cry out and warn others before it is too late. My sisters, my brothers, please hear me. Hell is not a joke. I thought I was bold, I thought I was free, but I was blind. I saw with my own eyes. Women are burning in hell because of the way they dressed. Jesus told me, every soul you cause to stumble will rise against you in judgment. Those words shake me every single day. Do not say, it's just fashion. Do not say, God looks at the heart. If your dressing is causing men to lust, you are opening the door of hell with your own hands. I beg you, repent now. Throw away indecency before it throws you into eternal fire. Hell is forever, but mercy is still here, right now. Jesus is calling you. Will you listen, or will you mock until it is too late? You've heard my story. You've seen my tears. But now I want to ask you, do you believe hell is real? Do you believe that how you live and even how you dress can lead souls there? My experience was not a dream, it was a warning. And I don't want anyone who listens to this to end up in that place. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt God warning you about your lifestyle? Do you believe Jesus still speaks today? Thank you for watching and listening with an open heart. May God keep you safe, may His Spirit guide you, and may you be ready for eternity. Until next time, stay watchful and stay holy.